Freezing rain. The plan was to go back a couple miles here into the swamp, the back end, and go for a walk with Gage, just check out some trails we haven't been on in a while, and we're still going to do that. But it's a good freezing rain coming down right now. I think the brake issue I'm having is with the front brake, because it was locked on from the last time I was plowing, and the bike still wouldn't start as if that brake was not engaged. And I had that problem the very first day we rode this bike, if you guys remember. And as we're coming down the trail here, I can hear the front brakes rubbing, and there should be no brake on. I worked the handle to release it. It's out as far as it'll go. But I think there's still a bit of brake engaged there from it being frozen. And that's why it keeps throwing this brake code. Trail's blocked. Look at that, would you? Dirty old Sasquatch. Blocking the trail, pushing trees down. I don't know, I'm gonna say definitely it's gotta be natural, but it is weird that one little tree here in the midst of the forest along the side of the trail gets broken down like that. Why is there nothing else around here blown down? You know, if a windstorm came through and blew a swath of trees over, you know, how did the wind just pick this one little tree right here along the side of the trail? I don't know. Let's take a closer look at this brake. You guys can analyze it. I'm going to have to say natural because you know me, scientist guy, right? But let's just take a look. Well, what can we tell from looking at that? Not a whole lot, I guess. Just that it snapped. And yes, I checked all the snowy areas here. There's no tracks other than Gage, and there's a deer track over there. That's my track right there. But it is odd. I find it odd. Look at all the little trees in this area. There's another one right there. There's all these little guys right here. You know, all these little guys right here. None of them are snapped off. I think I'm going to have a real hard time breaking that, but I'm going to try. I got poked right in the top eyelid. Oh, that hurt. We're gonna just drive over that. I'll have to bring the saw back next time and cut it out of the way. As you guys will see, we're breaking through the ice in all the places here. The trail is not really frozen anymore. We're just gonna park the bike here off the trail. I'm only about 600 yards from where I wanted to drive to anyway. I don't want to cross the open swamp up here because chances are good that we'll break through and we'll be up to the handlebars in mud if we do that. So it's actually rained this week twice, and today is freezing rain, and temperatures have been about 7-8 degrees Celsius above zero. So the swamp trail is really not frozen anymore, and we don't have any snow. Very little snow, less than an inch. So a crazy year. Just put a bunch of deer out of the swamp there. I saw 2 or 3 whitetails heading for the far shore. The dog never noticed them at the time. I swear I notice more than he does. I really think I do. That's the trail we went on the other night to cross this first little swamp. We're just going to walk around the outside today. We want to get to that back corner over there. The 90-acre trail actually loops around that way. And we don't want to go that way. We want to go back to the big swamp, which is back there. I guess it's nothing. Sometimes I feel like these woods are haunted. Certain places you come to on the trail, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just darker, but usually there's large granite involved with that creepy feeling. I made the decision to bring the phone today because it's waterproof. The camcorder isn't. And I charged up the gimbal because the other day we tried to come out with the gimbal. I forgot to charge it. It failed halfway through. So, really, it's a struggle to drive down that trail. Being on the gimbal and on the nice new four-wheeler with the great suspension, you guys don't realize how rough that trail is. Even with power steering, I'm steering with one hand as I'm holding the gimbal for you guys. So it's very taxing on my arm, and it's just very rough. Yeah, I could hook the GoPro up or something to the front. There's 2 problems with that. The GoPro doesn't like the cold. The batteries will fail in about 5 minutes, even in temperatures like this, which is right around 0 degrees today. Worst invention ever, that GoPro. I own 3 of them. Yeah, call me stupid. I bought 3 of these things. There are sections along the edge of the swamp here that are so thick Like, there could be a moose standing right there and you would never see it. Like, look how thick that is in there. My eye really hurts where I got poked. How do you get poked in the eye while wearing glasses? Fox track? Is that what you're sniffing? Yeah. We do get the nice HDR footage from the phone. So on days when it's very dark like this, it actually brings up the shadow detail. So you can see quite a bit more than you can with the old conventional camcorders and things. So that's nice. That's a nice feature of the phone. This is the trail here that we want. It goes back to the big swamp. As far as I know, no one has been in this trail this year because you can't come across those first open swamps unless you walk. Trust me, everybody around here, they're too lazy to walk. If they can't take their snow machine or the four-wheeler back here, they're not coming. And really, there's only Tom, Dave, and I, and Tom's brother-in-law hunts back here, so there's not too many of us. It's all private property, as I've mentioned. You gotta watch spots like this, boy. Going across here when it's not frozen, you could easily put a foot through there and break an ankle. So this is kind of the edge of the 90-acre trail, which comes along here and it goes off that way. As I said, it circles around the swamp and heads back that way. And we have to go out through there to get to the big swamp, another ½ kilometer. But look right here. We've talked about this. If you're new to the channel, this will be news to you, but look at, they put a snowshoe trail right here on the edge of this property. This is Dave's property. And they've been using this the last couple of years. And really, they shouldn't be. I have never gone down this snowshoe trail. They've got 2 or 3 different trails through here now. So not only did they mark the trails, but they cut anything that was in the way, you know, brush and branches and little trees, and it's private property. They shouldn't have done that. Do I see a triangle right there? No. Just a couple of leaners, I think. Yeah, just a couple of leaners. You know, if that had 3, 4, 5 more sticks in there, we would get in there and investigate, but I think it's just natural. I hadn't intended on walking this snowshoe trail this morning, but we've never done this, so let's just take a look, see where it goes. So essentially, it's just going to follow the wet area and it's going to head west until it hits Lake Nipissing. That's the only place they can go with this trail. If we get out there any further, we're going to get into a wet river creek system and they wouldn't be able to cross there. So they're going to stay here along the edge, and then if we go down there, I don't know, kilometer and a half, we will hit the shores of the lake. And off the lake, they have a whole bunch of other snowshoe trails put in down there, which is fine because that's actually Crown land. They sure love their flag tape though, whoever these guys are. Every 10 feet. Which this time of year, it's not a terrible thing. If people were not used to the bush, they definitely couldn't get lost, that's for sure. That's kind of a weird rock formation here. Ancient Mayan construction. Look at the square edges. I always wonder, you know, about civilizations that occurred many eons ago. And I believe that the earth was inhabited much longer than what conventional science and history tell us, 5,000 years. Much longer than that. You know, humans, there's no way in my mind that humans have evolved simply in the last 10,000 years since the Ice Age to start civilization and farming and social gathering and all this stuff that they say. I just don't think so. If you think of how hard it is for Gary to get a deer or a moose with all the modern conventions, you know, four-wheelers, guns, cameras, everything that we use, trail cameras, and I still go seasons where I don't get certain animals. These guys had to live and eat week after week. They're out there hunting with spears and arrows, and I just find that so hard to believe. And living in the conditions that we live in, there really are no cave systems up here in Northern Ontario. There's the odd little cave, you know. It's a big deal if there's a cave that you can walk into and there's roof over top of your head. Up here, it's a big deal, right? And they're all marked. And the closest ones to here that I know of are a couple 100 kilometers, right? Natural cave systems. And they don't go very far. They go in 100 yards into the rock and that's it. So you're not going to have clans of, you know, 100 people living in these systems up here. Didn't happen. So you're out here facing the brutal elements every day. There's just so much more that has occurred in human history that it would not surprise me to be out here in the wild, the Canadian wild, and find, you know, rock signs of an ancient civilization. It it would not surprise this guy. I honestly believe it could be here somewhere. Hey, another ancient ruin. Curious looking stones. What do you think, Gage? I think you have to be of a certain mindset. You know, you have to have that imagination. Some of the greatest explorers, that's what they had. They had imagination. That's why they were out here. They were looking for these unknown wonders, whatever was here, right? Were there ancient civilizations? The native tribes, where were they? You know, was there gold and silver? Just like down south, you know, the Aztecs and the Mayans and all of that stuff. It could have been up here. And if you don't have that imagination, you're going to be lacking that drive to get out here and explore. I think that's what drives all of these great explorers. Let's make our way back to the bike, buddy. Yeah, I'm thirsty too, buddy. Save some for me. Okay, out of the water. Let's go. I know the next step. You get down and you roll in it. I don't believe much of what science tells us about culture and society, these ancient civilizations. I've been to Peru. What an amazing trip that was. I've studied the archaeology, the buildings, the foundations up close. It's amazing stuff. You see these videos online talking about, you know, how thin the line between the blocks are. It's absolutely amazing. It's a hair width. Like, you couldn't push a hair between these stones, and they're not cut straight. You know, so they'll be cut, there'll be a V down, and then the block on top is cut in the exact same fashion with an out position of stone to fit in that V. You couldn't cut that with modern technology. What guy, you know, if you had computer precision printing today and you were cutting these stones like steel, you would have a hard enough time lining these things up to fit exactly. So it's mind-blowing. It's even more mind-blowing in person. And to go on the tours, I had to bite my lip because you're trying to be respectful. You're on the tour, you're listening to what they're telling you about their civilization. And the Mayans will tell you that their civilization only goes back 400 years and that they came out of a lake. Their people emerged from Lake Titicaca. So I understand the myth and I appreciate the legend behind it. But then, you know, you obviously can't put any stock in anything they tell you about how they built these buildings, which the oldest tales, when the Spaniards came through, they told them, we did not build these buildings. These were here before our time. Now the story has changed, and if you go there as a modern visitor, they will tell you that their ancestors built these buildings. Why? Because it's all part of the tourism, right? They want to be a part of the tourism. They're leading tour guides. They have experts who are leading these tours. And I get that, I understand that, but the truth is, no one knows how those buildings were built. How many of you guys do not know, feel free to comment below, that the exact same construction techniques were used in ancient Egypt that were used in Peru? So we have locking stones, and we have the convex, the really old stones that are laced together with, like I say, not a hair width between them. If you look at the base of the pyramids and the stone that you walk on to get to the pyramids, it's the same construction. Right? I did not know that till a few years ago. Doing my research on these ancient civilizations, I would never have said the two were connected, but obviously they were connected. I'm a dummy. I'm almost back at the bike, and I realized I've got an axe in the back of the bike. I should have took it out, whacked that spruce up with the axe. I never would have got poked in the eye. I gotta go home and put some ice on that. It's just throbbing. I just heard the weirdest howl. It sounded like a hunting dog, like a bloodhound coming from back in the swamp. There's nothing back there. There's no houses. The hair on the back of my neck stood up instantly, and no, I did not have the camera on. I was walking with it all folded up. Had to be coyotes or something, but it was weird. God, if I heard that at night out here, I'd poop my pants. You didn't even react. What's wrong with you? Well, at least, I don't know. I don't know if he reacted or not, in truth, because I was too busy looking back there to make sure something wasn't running out the trail behind me. Weird. We're back at the bike, so I'm not too worried about it. Time to get on the bike and get out of here.